until he shows up.
Is there a link that we need to share from our end?
By the way,
with folks?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can. Hey, how you doing, Sham? Can you hear us?
I'm good. It's
Okay.
I can hear you. The connection's a bit.
Yeah, you're a bit lagging.
But yeah, we are live now. Just FYI. And yeah, we just shared it on our X profile, so you can retweet that if you want.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us, guys. I'm excited to kick this off. Sham, Wrench, it would be great if you can, kick it off by giving an intro about yourselves, and we'll take it from there.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nima, for hosting us. As we have been discussing, we wanted to do this for the past few weeks, but I think both sides has been, pretty active in the recent times. Finally, we were able to find a slot and make it happen. Appreciate you hosting us. I appreciate everyone tuning in. My name is Wrench. I am the CEO of Giza. And before founding Giza, I was head of product at Johnson & Johnson and Sony. And that's where I focused quite a lot on designing and implementing how global platforms and products scale. And Jem is my co-founder and my childhood friend, which is another interesting story. And now we are, applying the experiences that we accumulated over the years into the single mission, which is, making money move as intuitively as information. And with that, I'll pass it on to Jem, and he can also give an introduction. I think Jem is lagging quite behind.
All right. Yeah. I think I'm here now. You guys.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, as always.
Let's see, Jem, I think now we have you.
Yeah, I can hear you guys perfectly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yes,
you're good.
Now you're good.
Okay, go for it.
Awesome. We're doing introductions, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a background in finance and economics in crypto space since too long, since 2017. Came in for the programmable organizations. Now got a little bit too bored with the pace of smart contract mechanism design development and research. So now trying to speed things up a little bit by mixing in some off-chain consensus mechanisms together with Eigenlayer and utilizing that kind of high-speed, high-agility expansion of design space for bridging AI agents to Web3 applications, primarily financial ones. I think Wrench probably told you, we're friends from childhood. We started working together formally about, is it 4 or 5 years ago now? And this is our first venture together. So it's a pleasure to ride with this guy.
That's awesome. Those stories are always the best. Just building with your friends on a super resonating mission. So I'm glad to hear it. So okay, I guess you touched on this a little bit. Agents, personalized, verified. Those are keywords that we've been hearing a lot lately. So maybe unpack that. What does that mean for you guys exactly? Why that mission statement?
Mm-hmm. I can take a job at it. I guess one thing about AI agents and what it brings to Web3 is what I was referring to earlier with regards to sort of smart contracts and mechanism design, and what is the fundamental limiting factors with regards to that design space is that you always have to create open games that anyone can participate in the same terms, and these games have to be protected from all kinds of exploits, and they have to survive, and like they have to also fulfill their optimization function. And it's just like this is an exceptionally high sort of requirement set to satisfy. And also it brings along many other let's say properties that are constantly being exploited, which is that like capital aggregation is one issue, and then like you're unable to create these user experience optimizations because you cannot serve a whole different palette of functionalities, because you can only spend your engineering hours and your auditing hours to like validate this like one specific thing that you're able to do well. And fundamentally what we're trying to do is to kind of like break that constraint by creating new types of structured products that are closer to the user as an interface than that is closer to the market structure. So if we look at like the user and the market as this sort of like the polars of market structure, there's of course like intermediaries in between, like financial institutions, banks, etc., that are closer to market structure, but that also serve the user. What we're trying to create is basically not another intermediary, but a new interface with which the user can interface the backend, interface the primitives of Web3, but in their own terms, by customizing their risk profiles, by customizing their gas tolerance, by customizing the cadence at which they want to interface the market, but inadvertently getting to a place where finance is less about human computation, but more about automated cognition that operates 24/7 around the clock and is inhumanly disciplined, that doesn't get emotional about the position, and is extremely high precision when it comes to execution. So we think that this is the future of finance, and of course the future is already here. It's unevenly distributed, and hedge funds already have these type of functionality, but the stories of Web3 is about democratization, and that's what we're here to do.
Love it. Wrench, any words to add?
That was very well put. I don't think I have anything more to add to that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, the way you frame that, Shem, reminds me of basically just like previous, I don't want to say revolutions, but like technical progress we've seen. For example, the iPhone, right? A few different like things have to come together for the App Store, for like Uber, like for these things like kind of pop off, right? For like new consumer behavior to change, like broadband internet, things like that, right? And now over the past like 10 or so years, we've built like DeFi protocols, chains have gotten more performant, like liquidity has come on chain, right? A lot of that stuff has happened. But now there's an interface that users are increasingly going to be accustomed with, the other things that you guys are building, right? It's effectively this intent layer, right? That can be interpreted by this entity, by this intelligence entity, right? And it can go and like do stuff reliably, right? Like reliability is a like very important, I guess, concept within agents, right? Because right now there's still like, or let's say the past 6 or 9 months, right? We've seen agents in the wild be able to like attempt to do things left and right, but maybe they're not the best at it just yet, right? But as they learn via different routes or action spaces or things, as they learn more, their reliability and the tooling is increasing. So that the ability to execute on the intent that the user has given to them via the risk profile they're operating in, the boundaries that are being set for how risk averse or whatnot the user actually is. I think that new like UX unlock is the thing that we're probably on the inflection point, right? Is that a fair way of summarizing it?
Absolutely. And also like maybe just to address that out of the box, like one thing that had set us apart. This is a little bit of a self-pat in the back, but from the rest of the agents herd is that we knew the generalized intent processing and finance like doesn't just match out of the box, because the requirements of financial execution, everything that I described earlier, like operational excellence, precision in execution, and like sense making, the requirements, etc. Like all of these are like it could all go very, very wrong, and especially if you deploy this en masse, you're gonna have like a huge failure rates, which you're not gonna survive really. So that's why like all the agents have been stuck in like the meme corner, kind of like meme token corner, and then like things that are trying to be more functional are like very shy of hitting the market. Like they just like they're like in a demo stage kind of. And what really kind of broke us apart from that has been understanding what Web3 is about, and like reliable products in Web3 are about, and kind of bringing that mechanism design discipline of, okay, understand what we can provide today, start with a low risk environment. Our first agent ARMA is running on a stablecoin yield market, so we minimize the currency risk. And then it does what it does extremely well. It gets best of the market rates for its users, and it prototypes all the functionalities that set us apart, which is a lot of them are security related, right? Like and it's also UX and security, I would say. You sign these session keys that describe extremely granularly what the agent can and cannot do. So there's absolutely no risk of like a mini Skynet event where like the agent takes your funds and sends them somewhere else. And at the same time, it can transact without you having to click at every transaction, obviously.
Right.
So these have been extremely rewarding in terms of for us having learning experiences from a live agent that is actually providing utility to users. Of course, for users to
100%
have hands-off interaction.
It's amazing hearing you appreciate sort of the nuances from a product perspective, right? Because we talk about trust minimized or trustless systems, right? And yes, that is important depending on the component that you look at. But trust is still the thing that like your users want to have like in the product. And again, going back to that reliability aspect, right? For the thing that they want to express is the thing that's executed, right? And maybe to dive in a little bit specifically in terms of let's say these policies, like these session keys that are set, right? In the non-crypto agent verse, that's called like guardrails, right? Like is the agent going to operate in this sort of safe bounds that you expect it to operate? But in this case, because there's money on the line, you want to have some more assurance that the exact policies that you've given it are the ones that are being executed. So can you unpack that a little bit, just so like for us to go into a bit of detail on how this actually works?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a triangulation like at the core of our architecture between the user and the agent. We have a smart account that is minted by the user, and the session keys that the user signs with the agent allows the agent to operate on the smart account. So everything is fully owned by the user. So the smart account is users' wallets, effectively, like not their original wallet, but the wallet that they fund so that the agent can act on. And then the user engages in a contract, let's call it, with the agent, which is called the session key. Session keys come from, they're originally a gaming primitive from Web3, because in gaming you have these multiple interactions that you have to do while you're playing a game that you don't actually want to sign a transaction every time you're shooting someone, or like you're building a block of things or something like that. So it grants the game contract a certain package of rights for a certain amount of time and under certain conditions. And this is obviously programmable, so you can like describe in a very high granular manner what those guardrails, as you well put, are about. And in our case, these guardrails are usually about, of course, a certain time horizon within which the agent can be active, the token pairs that the agent can trade, the protocols that the agent is able to operate on, and the permissions it has with regards to transferring the token, and that is by default in our current applications is like disabled. So this is basically on-chain enforced rights of the agent on what it can do on user resources, to describe very expressively.
Got it. That makes sense. So that's one aspect of verifiability that the agent has, right? Or the user has over the agent, right? In terms of what the agent can do. But there's other aspects of it in terms of the agent execution and things like that. And perhaps how EigenLayer can help here with economic security. So yeah, it would be great if you can also touch on that and see it, and how you see where we are today on that, and the progression for where you guys want to be going in the next, like, I don't know, a few months or so.
Yeah, it's a very interesting, has been a very interesting journey for us, because again, like we started with, the mission to bridge like AI and Web3 ecosystems with the underlying intent of like speeding things up and like radically enhancing, like creating a non-incremental jump in UX and design space expansion. Of course, the key has always been trust minimization.
Yep.
Like, but the question is like how, right? Like, and in answering that question of how you get like, different sub clusters like AI, Web3 ecosystems, let's say. Some of them are doing optimistic stuff, some of them are doing ZKML, some of them are doing some other like the trusted execution environments and so on. And so we were like very much islands in the beginning. When Giza started, we were doing like heavily cryptographically verifiable machine learning models, and like we were going to publish proofs and the verifiers and like get the verification and like push that to the smart contract, this type of thing. But over time, we realized that actually, like, security is not about picking a winner primitive or something like this. And like where we are today, we're actually using each one of those components at a different layer in our architecture. So thanks to session keys, we have extreme trust provision in terms of agent guardrails. Thanks to verifiability, we provide trust from machine learning logic that applies to the optimization function of the agent that is tampering resistant. From optimistic stuff, we have EigenLayer that allows us to execute agents as a flexible consensus mechanism with crypto economic guarantees. So like stacking all of these up, it's like we are much better off than another competitor that would just like pick one of these and try to run with that and eat all the trade-offs that come with that choice. So we managed to find, I mean, I can't say that like we're lucky, but we're lucky to have an ecosystem of geniuses which develop all these different types of primitives to such an extent that we also have the vision to kind of put together and apply to this use case. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, definitely. Standing on the shoulders of giants, it takes a village, right? Contribute back to open source and keep going. So I guess on the EigenLayer side, when you say you're relying on this consensus mechanism, right? What does that exactly mean for you? Because there's different types of consensus mechanisms, there's different types of optimistic systems. How does that give you security for what the agents need to do?
Yeah, so well, of course there's so there's like different ways that you can run an AI agent, and like there's you can go and run your agent in Google Cloud just to like map the spectrum. You can run it on your own device. You can try to run on a decentralized infrastructure. And when you, all of these obviously have also different trade-offs. And in order to get to a place where we create an environment that agents themselves become a permissionless design space, which anyone can participate in as providers, as users, without any discrimination. This obviously brings us to the decentralization direction, and also hosting financial services that are financial in nature in centralized infrastructure is also inhibiting for many use cases, but it also allows us to get to finance as commons infrastructure when we use these decentralized networks. So as you well know, and all Ethereans are kind of cognizant of, in order to get to a place where we are post proof of work running a decentralized network, we need some kind of we need to solve the nothing at stake problem, where people who are participating in consensus making have to have some kind of stakes that are creates disincentives from deviating from consensus. So this is basically, we are starting with the restaking template that mixes both native tokens of Giza and Ethereum restaking to provide initial security for the Giza protocol that is going to be running the agents. And then we have a little bit more exotic ideas about some custom consensus mechanisms where, and this is something I actually had a conversation with Sriram about, that a restaking protocol is actually an insurance protocol that you are effectively pricing risk for the stakers, or you should be pricing risk for the stakers, but actually we are not pricing that risk, right? Today, all validations are kind of equal. It's monolithic as a general throughput, but actually the first thing that an insurance network has to do is to discriminate between different risk profiles.
Right, 100%.
This becomes very much imminent when it's finance, because a certain use case, let's say one agent is managing upwards of billions of dollars, then that agent's requirement for consensus security is going to be much higher than any other agent. So we're looking at ways. It's a bit too early to speak about the details here, but we're looking for ways to create these sufficiently decentralized trust sets that can actually provide this type of discrimination. And
Wow. Yeah. I think Ryan has to drop off. So before you do that, any other words you want to add here to the combo?
No, you guys are on fire with everything, and it's a great ping pong match to watch. I can only echo what everything Jem mentioned. I think he's doing a phenomenal job of picturing the vision we have and the things we're excited to with EigenLayer. Thank you so much for Nima for hosting us, and perhaps this is the menu of conversations that we can have on the subject.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you. Okay, so on what you just said, because we went live with slashing, recently, and redistribution is also around the corner. That gives you these tools to be able to effectively think about concretely pricing risk and the risk profile and so on and so forth, and that creates this class of insured agents effectively, right? If you as a user want to interact with this agent for some action, right? Then at least conceptually you can think about wanting to be insured against that agent actually doing the thing that it said it would do, right? Within some constraint space and some SLA and something, right? And that does, and insurance is a validated concept in the real economy, right? So that being a property that you give to the user is actually a fairly attractive thing. So it's absolutely not a surprise at all. that this
Totally.
is sort of the natural like route you guys are sort of thinking through.
Yeah, and besides, usually insurances has many like trickier aspects IRL, in the sense that there's many things that you need to validate in terms of like processing claims and these type of things, while everything that we're doing is on chain, mostly on chain, but everything that we're doing has a auditing trail, traceability. So like it's really, really easy to think about deviant behavior and
something that's super cool about the way you guys are approaching this is perhaps framing the risk curve that you end up operating on, both technically, economically, like, in various different dimensions. Because as you said, you use different components for trust minimization, session keys, consensus mechanisms for, giving agents the ability to do what they need to do, but also risk analysis, different ML techniques, right? And all these are sitting, at least right now, and they will end up changing into the future, but they're sitting in different points on the risk curve right now, right? But you're doing that intentionally and cognitively of what that means for the user right now, what UX that unlocks, right? And how you can set a baseline and keep improving on that baseline into the future, right? So like where we are like a year from now or 2 years from now with the stuff that you guys are thinking about, some more exotic mechanisms, different trust profiles, all that kind of stuff, that at the end of the day means more optionality for how you want to deploy an agent towards what use cases, over what time horizons, on what risk parameters. There's so many different like ways of going and thinking about it that just like the different segments of the market itself are going to be addressed, but the market itself is going to grow like, X-fold, into the next few years itself.
Absolutely. The risk curve is a very good heuristic. You have, let's say, capabilities and security as axes, and there are different primitives that lay in different spots on that axis, and they work well for different parts of our stack. So we are composing those things to create a unified experience that provides a totality of security and capability for our users. And as you said, things are moving so fast. Coding paradigms are changing, and data access and like intelligence capabilities, and like so we are very much designing everything to be swappable. But of course, like things that we establish on the consensus layer, things that we establish, best practices that we establish on user security and authentication are all like foundation of what is going to come tomorrow.
So curious, given all the stuff that you guys have done and what you want to be doing into the future, obviously, like, there's limited capacity in the things that you can tackle, but personally, you're probably excited about like so many more things, right? So if you were to give some tips or advice or things that you think others should also be looking at in parallel, that maybe you guys don't have the immediate bandwidth to get into, what are some maybe either practical or research-based items that folks can start looking at?
I think, it's half a sci-fi direction, half maybe too predictable, but like at the convergence of Web3 and AI and the type of stuff that our agents are doing, I think what's really, really exciting for me, because this is really why I got into the space, which is like DAOs and programmable organization stuff, which is to a certain extent of like the experimentation's more or less to my taste stopped, and kind of like they found product market fit in this like kind of on-chain association kind of template. But for like organization theoretical experiment to continue, we need like the cost of development of these things to like radically go down, of the tooling to radically go down, which I think vibe mechanism design is going to kind of do a little bit of that. But yeah, what's on the other side, where like how AI effectively like comes back to crypto and like changes crypto, how it's made, and utilizing the key components of crypto. I see automated companies, automated when AI is able to be a conduit for productivity, when it can generate value, like say, again, like Arma agents are the example of that. You just like put money in it and it grows your money. And then the question is like, what kind of architectures, what is your institutional design take for redistributing this value, right? Like, so this is like kind of, we always thought of DAOs as the future of kind of programmable organizations, but now programmable organizations are going to come to a place where it matters, because actually productivity is going to be part of that equation, which means that you can have alternative community type of structures, you can have UBI experiments, you can have like innovation venture builder kind of setups. I find this to be very, very exciting, and it couples up with like financial primitives quite well as well, right? Because that's probably where productivity may come from first.
The A and DAOs being autonomy, right? Now I think now we're getting to the interesting period where that can like come to effect, given the intelligence capabilities of these agents, right? Autonomous agents. Or
yes, totally.
So maybe as we wrap it up in a few minutes here, for your product Arma, right? What do you think it was that was it? What do you think allowed you to own in on understanding what the user values and why they should interact with Arma as opposed to other agents?
I think we had a very, very clear starting vision for Arma, which is again like just one out of n agents that we're going to be building as we try to inspire others to build different type of agents. The requirement for us for Arma was, funnily enough, to design the protocol. Actually, we were like, how are we going to design an agents protocol if we don't know what an agent is, if we don't have any live agent that does anything useful? So let's first make the agent and then design the protocol in its image, So in a sense, like we kind of only wanted it for ourselves, for inspiration for protocol design.
Many such cases.
But that's the need to create something useful was the grounding element that I think attracted the attention that it did.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Many such cases. We tend to see this over and over again. So glad to see you guys have hit that nail on the head, and I'm very looking forward to seeing what other agents you guys experiment with. So on that note, any other words you want to speak before we part here? This was an awesome session.
Oh, it really was. I think I'm a little bit I wish Ranch was with us as well, but I kind of
we'll do more of these, no worries.
DDoS the yes, but it's been lovely. Again, like really thankful for EigenLayer for both capacitating what we are like enabling even to think about building such a thing as Giza protocol, because it just wouldn't have been possible otherwise. And yeah, just pure excitement for where we can take Web3 next.
Awesome. So where can folks find you?
I'm personally on Twitter at CEMFDAGDELAN. And besides, we are Gizatech XYZ. You can find us all over the place.
Okay, awesome. Well, folks should be on the lookout for more releases from you guys soon.
Yes.
And same with EigenLayer. Actually, we have a lot cooking. So over the next several weeks, we're excited to see what we can do together.
Let's go.
All right, appreciate it, Jan.
My pleasure, Nima.
Yeah, talk to you soon. Bye.
Ciao.